So now let's talk about restoring the data from an SQL backup. Now again, we can do this in the GUI or um, in a query using SQL code. But I want to start by showing you something in SQL code. And we'll actually go through the process in the GUI. But I want to show you something here. So I'm going to do a new query. And the query is going to be this. It's going to be restore header only from disk equals, and then I'm going to point it to my backup file. C colon backslash backup backslash aw.bak. And let me do single quote instead of double quote on that side. And let's execute. Now, this is going to show us all of the backups that we've created in there. And you can see I have several created now. I did a full backup. So it's in spot 1. I have a full backup. Backup type 1 means it's a full backup. Backup type 2 means it's a transaction log backup. Backup type 5 means it's a differential backup. So you can see here we did a full backup, 2 transaction log backups, a differential backup, 2 transaction log backups. Now, if I am going to restore, what I need to do is I need to install the latest full backup, which would be this one right here. Now, if I did another full backup, that immediately restarts this whole process, right? Because that full backup basically grabs everything for me. So I do a full backup, or I'll do my latest full backup. Then I can skip these 2 transaction log backups because of this differential backup. But then I would need to do every transaction log backup after that. So let's say I had another differential backup and then a couple more transaction logs. I would need to do the full backup, the latest differential backup, and then every transaction log backup since then. So this is what I'm going to have to restore. Full backup, differential backup, 2 transaction log backups. Now this process is actually simplified, and I can script it here, but the process is actually simplified in the GUI. So I'm going to right click on AdventureWorks, go to Tasks, and Restore. And I'm going to restore the database. Now, it already knows about that file, and so it looks at that file and it determines for me what it needs to restore. And you can see right here, it's got the full backup, the differential, and the 2 transaction log backups. It's already looked at that and decided for me what it needs to have restored. And this is really awesome. Now I can choose to restore, or I can choose a specific timeline. So right here I can restore to the last backup taken. Now I could also choose a specific time and say I want to restore to, and here you're going to see when our backups took place. I can choose a specific day and time and say restore me to that point in time, which is something that's only available, by the way, if we do a full recovery model. Okay, so I can just execute this from here, but there's something else that I might want to check out. So if I go to Files, actually it's not Files, it's Options that I want. So right here, you can see I have a take tail of the log backup before restore, and this is a default. I haven't set that, it just defaults to this. And then leave source in the leave source database in the restoring state. And this is going to back up to that default backup location, and that's fine. So basically, this will do that tail of the log backup, leave it in the restoring state, and then run every restore for me, including this last one, the tail of the log backup. And then I can choose to prompt before restoring each backup, or I can just let it go. And if I let it go, it's just going to do it all at one time. So this basically, and this is one of the things I love about doing the restore from the GUI here, even if I'm doing backups from the SQL code, I like restoring from the GUI because that just simplifies this entire process for me. Right here gives me the option to verify my backup media, and then I just hit OK, and it starts that restore for me. And it does all of it in sequence. So notice right here, AdventureWorks full database backup. It's restoring right now. We can watch the progress indicator. We can also stop it if we so choose to. Completes that restore. Now it's going back to the file. Now it's doing, more restoring, more restoring, more restoring, and it restored all 4 of our backups successfully. So there we go. Real quick overview of restoring databases from SQL. Now, a couple of things that really make this work well. The GUI obviously simplifies that process considerably because then I don't have to try to figure out what I need to exactly back up by looking at all of the files and choosing all the index locations. It automatically does that for me. The other thing that makes this really useful is by doing backups to that particular file and having, let me go back in here so we can see this, and having this file set up as our backup location. By it defaulting to that, it automatically knows where to go to look for everything. Notice, by the way, it also now has this one right here. This was our tail of the log backup that ran when we did our last restore. Okay, so there we go. Backing up and restoring databases in SQL Server.